Hello everyone, welcome to Chaudhary Data World channel. Today I am here with few new methods into Pyspark DataFrame for dealing up with any values, that is null values, into the data frame. We are having basically 6 to 7 options to deal up with that, which are drop NA and then drop NA with subset, fill NA with subset, where and then with column. So these are some of the basic frequently used methods into Pyspark to deal up with the null values into the data frame. So we'll be watching in detail how to apply this particular method into some data frame. So let's get started with the video. Let's jump to Databricks. In that we will be watching first in our list. First one is drop NA, df.drop NA. This particular one, how we can apply. First, what I have did is I've just created one data frame. That data frame, we have just taken up the data and then df spark.create data frame with having data passed into it as parameter and then column names. It's pretty simple and I have just df.showed it. After that, I have taken up a new data frame name as df dropped na and then applied just dot drop na, nothing to pass as a parameter. We have directly applied dot drop na. So what this specification is, it basically drops your whole rows whichever is containing in whatever column the null value, whatever column it is containing and whatever rows it is containing, that rows will be dropped from that whole data frame. So in this particular one, when I am executing, let me execute by shift plus enter. So as soon as I execute it, you can see that our data frame, this df.show, is giving this particular data frame. In this data frame, you can see that in A's there is this Bob, the guy named Bob, having the A's as null, and Alice has the scored null. So these two rows is having null values. Only row, that is Charlie, having no any null into its any of the column. So that particular one only is left into our whole data frame up by applying dot drop na. Rest of others are dropped. Now moving to second one, that is drop na with subset. Now we just need the flexibility that suppose if you want to have A's column only to be considered to drop, that means whatever null values into the A's column, that particular row should be dropped. For that, we are having again another option, that is dot drop na along with the subset. You need not to do much into it, just you want to provide, just you need to provide one parameter, that is subset, and against that subset you just need to define that what all columns need to be considered for the dropping of null values. I am here considering the A's. So wherever in A's it will get the null value, that particular row will be dropped. Rest of other things will be there. So let me execute in front of you by shift plus enter. So it will give you here, you can see that it has given you two rows with having and it dropped one row which was having null value in the A's, that was Bob. It has been dropped. Rest other, that is Alice and then Charlie, both are there into our data frame. Moving to the third option we are having, that is fill NA. So it's one step forward. That means if you are having NA value, that means null value into your data frame. Now you want to fill up that NA value with some other value, because this is very common scenario in which you just need to have you need not to drop that particular row with having null value, but you want to replace that particular value. For that, what we need is, you can see that this particular line of code, that means 3 line of code, is nothing for our use. It's just creating the data frame. The last line which is of our use is fill NA. In that fillna we are just passing the common value, that is 0, and the columns to be considered, that is score and then age. Here you can observe that this score and age will be considered for the filling up the value, but the value which will be filled up in both of the column is common value, that is 0, correct? So wherever in score or age it will get that NA value, it will replace that particular value with 0. So you can see that when I will execute it with shift plus enter, you can see that now that this null value and this null value both have been replaced by 0, correct? 0. Now our requirement may be versatile at some particular time, that suppose if you want to have a score here, in this score column your NA value should be filled up with some other value, and in age value it should be filled up with some different value. So in to deal up with that particular scenario, we are again having another option basically. So dot fill NA is only the option here also to deal up with that particular option, but to apply the things it's a bit different. So till here nothing of our use, it's just creating the data frame. And here I have taken up the replace dictionary. That means dictionary is nothing but, suppose in age if you want to replace that NA value, then what should be the value which will be replacing that null? So that is 25. In a score there the value is different, that is 0. So wherever it will get null value into age, it will keep 25 there, and wherever it will get null into score, it will keep 0 there. And now columns to replace, so just I have applied this logic. This logic is nothing but, if suppose if you want to go ahead with having only this age, like this age comma score, this was bit not the best practice, that's why I did nothing but I just taken the replace dict, which is this one, and then its keys, that is age comma score, and put it into a list. That only I am passing as the parameter, these two parameters. First parameter is the replace dict, that I am passing in at the place here you were previously passing 0, that was the common thing. This time it's a specified thing, that is replace dict, and other is same, that is subset the column which you want to consider. Now as soon as you execute it, you will get shift plus enter, you will get wherever the null is in age it is replaced by 25, and wherever the null in score it is replaced by 0. So this was, I guess, fourth option with which we can deal up with null values. Now fifth option in front of us is where. Now this where will is smart enough to handle all the situations. That means suppose here this particular line of code, it's nothing of our use, it's just creating the data frame again. Now moving ahead with dot where. So df dot where, and then in where we need to provide this parameter. Now what is this parameter? So you can see here that column whole is dot is not null, correct? So it is telling you that if you want to have those rows only in which age is not null, and column is score which is having null, that means the rows which is having null value. So there is only satisfying condition to this particular one is that, suppose you are having age, correct? This particular age is having null not null in 25 and 35. That means for Alice and for Charlie age is not null. And coming to this score is null, it is telling. So it is in the Alice. So Alice is the common data which is satisfying this condition, that because we are having and into it, and operation into it. So what it will do, it will pull out that alias common data and it just taken out that value. And rest of the nulls means it's also the basic operation on null only. That's why I kept into this particular category, and it is giving you the result. The last option we are having the option of when. This when is not the direct option. We are importing that when from the pyspark.sql.functions, and then we are creating that data frame. Again, data frame is nothing of our use. Moving ahead with these three lines. So these three lines is having df dot with column, and you can see that one by one we are applying. That means for A's we are applying, we are just passing this A's with column. Since it is with column, so here the column name will be provided, and then here you can see that when we are providing it. So it's just like basic syntax that when df.is null, then put it 0, otherwise put it df.is. That means if it is null, then put 0, and if in a score it is null, the some value is null, then there provide -1, otherwise provide as it is whatever a score is. So once we execute this one, you can see that whatever null values is in A's, then whatever null values, that means here it is null, it is getting replaced by 0, and whatever in a score we are having, this is getting replaced by -1. So these 6 functions or methods you can say which was very useful to us, and which will be helping you a lot into your munging up the data frame. That means dealing up with NA values or null values into the data frame going ahead. And if you found this video helpful, kindly like to the video and subscribe to the channel. And any confusion, let me know into the comment section. Thank you so much guys for watching the video. See you in the next one.